Jody Whites of Jody White's Coaching and Your Spectacular Life. And I'm going to be talking about how to break bad habits. Now, habits can be often a good thing. For example, when you drive to work in the morning, you kind of get there on autopilot, not needing to know whether you should turn right or left. You simply arrive. According to Russell Poldrick, a professor of psychology at Stanford University, that there are good reasons that we form habits, and that is to get the brain to learn things without effort or energy. But sometimes habits can lead us astray, whether it's turning to comfort food when we're sad or over-drinking when we're stressed. Now, since habits can take practice and repetition to form, the same is true when it comes to breaking them. In order to eliminate these habits that are not serving you in life, I'm going to tell you about 5 strategies that can really help you break those habits. The first one is getting rid of stress in your life. Now, many habits, including things like smoking or excessive sugar consumption, involve the brain's dopamine or reward system. Dopamine is like a feel-good chemical that transmits signals between neurons in the brain. And when we are stressed, we want to relieve that discomfort and pressure, and we often turn to rewarding substances like sugar to take our mind off the discomfort and to move into a more pleasant state. Therefore, a feedback system, loop, and habit is created. Stress, discomfort, relying on something that you like, and then ease. Typically, you're looking at something outside of yourself to bring ease and calm, namely the substance, whether it's food, drink, or sometimes something stronger. There are, however, ways to address the root of these problems and detrimental habits, like trying to get more sleep, exercising regularly, and doing stress reduction techniques that can increase your willpower and overall brain health and overall make you less stressed. Building your awareness of when stress is building up in your system and then taking action immediately to lessen it, like taking a few moments to do some deep breathing exercises to calm the system. The second key part of breaking habits is knowing what triggers them. Elliot Berkman, the director of University of Oregon's Social and Affective Neurosci Lab, has 3 main parts when it comes to a habit. That is a cue, a routine, and a reward. Now, cues are the context where you tend to engage in that behavior. Like if you're a smoker, for example, the cue might be a work break. Now, if you're addicted to desserts, it might be simply when you pick up the menu and start scouring the menu for sweets. You're the most likely to relapse in the context of what you've done before, Berkman states. Now, knowing your triggers can really help you avoid them. Berkman suggests that smokers dispose of items like ashtrays that might remind them or trigger the habit. Or people who are trying to cut their habit in drinking too much should always avoid walking by a bar and popping in for happy hour. Makes sense. Capitalizing on major life changes can also help you break an unhealthy habit, like when you might have a cross-country move or a new job, there is no time to introduce even more changes into your life. And these shifts can actually be the best time to break your habit. You're going into new contexts and situations, so you don't have those same cues. It's a perfect way to form new and better habits. Now, if you're used to lighting up and smoking on the way to work, for instance, moving to a new city in this case gives you a new way to take public transport, or dig into a new podcast instead of a new pack of cigarettes, because you're in a new environment. And you don't always have to move to a new city. You can simply do something different when you're in the car to make your brain create new habits and new positive habits to get away from the old one. And this leads us into the third point, and that is replacing a bad habit with a good one. And instead of trying to stop doing a bad habit, do something else, because bad habits provide some type of benefit in your life. And it's really difficult to simply eliminate them. And this is why simply saying to yourself, just stop doing it, rarely works. Instead, you need to replace the bad habit with a good habit that provides a similar benefit. For example, bad habits address certain needs in your life, and for that reason, it's better to replace these bad habits with healthier behaviors that you expect yourself to do, instead of simply just saying no or cutting out the bad habits. Just don't do it. Won't work for very long. For example, if you eat junk food when you get stressed, then it's a bad plan to just stop eating it when it happens. Instead, there are ways to deal with stress and behavior instead of having to eat poorly. Like when you're stressed, have a plan to replace food with water. Don't allow yourself to get near the kitchen, and place a water bottle in front of you. And that can be really helpful in hydrating and then relieving that stress. Number 5 is changing your self-talk. The truth is that you already have it in you to be someone who can break your bad habits. In fact, it's really unlikely that you have had these bad habits all your life. You don't need to quit smoking. You simply need to return to being a non-smoker. You don't need to transform your life into a healthy person. You just need to go back to being healthy. Even if it was years ago, you have already lived a life with this bad habit, which means you can simply go back to the positive habits. Now, James Clear, author of the book Atomic Habits, suggests changing your self-talk. For example, use the word but to overcome negative thinking. One thing about battling bad habits is that it's easy to judge yourself for not acting better. And anytime you slip or make a mistake, it's easy to tell yourself, I'm bad, I can't do that. But whenever this happens, start a sentence or insert but in the middle of the sentence. For example, I'm fat and out of shape, but I could be in shape in the next few months from now. I'm stupid and nobody respects me, but I'm working to develop a valuable skill. I'm a failure, but everybody fails sometimes. These statements, or inserting a but in the middle of it, can help us, again, redirect our thinking to say what's true, or even not what is true, but to think about what we can do to change our future. Plan for failure, because we all slip up every now and then. And if you get off track and slip back to the bad habit, rather than beating yourself up over a mistake, just plan for it, because what separates the people who are successful at changing habits from everyone else is that they get back on track very quickly. Now, the next and last point that I want to talk about is to set goals with action items. Rather than focusing on a more general goal, like, I will not grab that cookie on the way out of the cafeteria, be more specific on how you're going to implement this goal into your daily life. Looking at how you've responded to the situation in the past is going to be a great determining factor about what you can do to avoid the cookies in the future, and how you're going to break the habit. Now, based on the past, you can get valuable information about how you're going to change it. And in the case of the cookies, of simply not walking by the rack of cookies itself is going to be so helpful. I hope you've enjoyed this discussion on breaking your bad habits. I know it's hard, so let me help. I'm Jody Whites of Jody Whites Coaching and Your Spectacular Life. If you have any questions or comments, please email me at jody@yourspectacularlife.com. Thanks for watching.